Portgas the Ace.
Hi everyone, my name is Artemis and welcome to Art with Artemis. Today I will be showing you how to digitally illustrate this character from One Piece. And it's okay if you do not have a digital device to use to draw, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to show you how to do different techniques with just, simple piece of paper. Yeah, so no worries at all. And anyway, let's get started.
Phase 1. Sketching. Okay, so I normally use a dark green color for my pencil tool, but today I'll be using navy blue. So I start out by sketching the side profile, mainly the forehead, nose, mouth, and jaw. And if you're using a pencil and paper, try and make sure you don't press too hard as you make the lines, because it'll only make it harder for you to erase after we go through phase 2. As you can see, I'm trying to make sure I'm getting the face correct, because from the nose to the mouth, it looks a little bit off, so I keep trying to fix it. So yeah, it looks a bit funny. So I'm just gonna start over and redraw it from the hat. I start working on the hand, and I'm trying to add also the bracelet that he has. I'm making sure that his thumb is right where the bridge of the hat is, because it's like at the tip of where his hair is starting at. So I want to make sure that's in the right area. I continue to fix the face because it's kind of giving me a problem here. I'm going to just work on his forearm and how his body is going to be, because I want to make sure that I'm not just making a head and the body's so tiny or vice versa. I'm just going to add the eyes over here and just try and make it look as accurate as possible, even though my reference doesn't have a smile or any eyes. I'm going to continue working on the body and how the figure is, because I want to make sure I get it as accurate as possible. Since his arm's kind of skimpy looking, I'm just going to kind of make it more rounder. It's try and fill it out so it doesn't look super skinny compared to the rest of the body. I'm going to try and fix this guy's back because it looks kind of off, so I'm just going to continue adding belt, all the little details, because why not? Try and fix his tattoo on his back, and his arm thing, and his strings for the hat. And I'm just going to move that hat down because the hat looked way too high up and it didn't look right, and I'm going to try and shorten it and make it look smaller. So I'm going to continue adding more detail to like the pants, his chest part, his neck, and I fix that ear, trying to get everything organized so it looks better, and fix that hat, get the boots fixed too. And I'm going to work on his hand, which usually people have a hard time drawing the hands. If you really have a hard time, try and look at your own hand to help also, and sketch it out, and use your hand for a model reference, and try and look at the reference for this whole picture above too, if that can help you. So I'm going to be adding the fire to his back, so that way I have a reference for what I'm going to do later. So I'm going to continue fixing his legs and try and add the boots, because he's leaning on a roof originally in the picture. So I'm trying to make sure one foot's more forward than the other, because he's crouching obviously. So I'm going to add his gun sword thing that looks kind of like from the 7 Deadly Sins, and try and touch up on everything else. And yeah, that's it for the drawing part. Phase 2. Line art.
Okay, so in the line art phase, you're just doing this on pencil and paper. Make sure you lightly sketch something, like a line or whatever. I'm just going to use this as an example. It's not literally anything. And we're going to use a Uniball Vision Fine Waterproof and Fade-Proof pen. And you're going to trace it. I recommend going slow, not fast like I just did, but yeah. And then recommend using a white eraser. And then when this thing dries, you just erase it, even if it's on the line itself. And that way, you get a pretty good line. There's no eraser marks or anything for the most part. It's very useful for line art. It can help you make also these things, which I will be showing how to make in a future video. This and this. Line art's important, and coloring work is very important also.
Whether you're drawing digitally or on paper, line art cleans up your sketch drawing with smooth, solid lines. If you're drawing on paper, I recommend using a Uniball Vision fine-tipped pen. That's waterproof and fade-proof. Remember to trace over the pencil lines carefully and not to rush so you don't smudge it or accidentally draw an unneeded line. Make sure you let it dry and then gently erase the pencil lines with a white non-smudge eraser. If you're drawing digitally, make sure you add a layer and put it above your sketch layer to draw on. Be sure to take your time either way and check between your actual sketch and your liner to make sure you're doing what's right and you don't want to accidentally do a wrong line or make it look funky by accident. When we're finished, we'll finally head on to Phase 3. Phase 3, Basic Color. His hat is an orange color, a dark orange, and we're going to have the beads red. And we're going to add his skin tone and make sure we get it all around. I'm going to start working on his hair color now and try and get it to work together. And I keep trying to change it because it doesn't look exactly right. And if you're doing this on paper, try to make sure that you have an extra sheet of paper so that way you can test your colors before you actually put it on the official drawing that you want to show or keep or whatever. It is very important to remember. Don't worry if you make a mistake. It happens. Do not throw out your drawing. Try and fix the problem instead. As you can see here, I'm trying to fix my mistake. His hair is a bit off and I'm trying to fix the eye and his mouth. It doesn't look exactly accurate. But once we're done, we can move on to the next phase. Phase 4, Shadowing and Details.
Okay, so I have my base model for the flame. I'm just using normal red. I just start by sketching out the flame by making it like kind of curved. It reminds me almost of like teardrops, if you will. It's kind of strange. This will be like another example. It's kind of funky in comparison to this. Like it's very faint, so you can try and add a little bit more red to it, like coloring a little bit on the inside or along the edge. So the flame is a bit more thicker. Instead of just using like, you know, a pencil, like some people they may use like, you can do a pencil and then draw the flame and then you use the pen and then you can erase it also. But for this case, this is a personal preference right now because I want the flames to be different than the lineup for the body and whatever. And anyway, so continuing with coloring the flame, since we used our red just now, we're gonna try out our other colors. This is called Orange Juice Orange. So I'm gonna try it right here. It looks a little bit reddish, kind of orangey red. And then this is the normal orange. Wait a minute. This looks exactly the same. Anyway, since these two are very similar, I'm gonna use the orange juice one because the color of the pencil looks more redder, but in comparison, and we're gonna do almost the same thing. It's okay if you go into the red so the colors blend a bit. Make sure you go lightly. Also, instead of pressing really hard, because sometimes it'll look really rushed, if you will, and it'll cause some problems if you accidentally make a mistake on a color or something. This is not a perfect flame reference, but this will give you a general idea if you do not know how to make a flame. A little more. There. And now I'm going to use the normal orange because I cannot see fully too much of the difference, like a little bit. Like one's a little bit more orangey yellow, one is not. And then do that again. Now we have our yellow. It's very, very bright. And now we're gonna color in the inside. Sometimes going in circles, like small circles, help it. Like from looking just, you know, just straight lines all the time. It will help a lot. Like sometimes I'll do both, but yeah. It's okay to go to the orange so we can make it stand out a little more. Since this is the flame, we're gonna go to the orange part and color it with the yellow, including the red. to make it more defined. Okay, and I'm gonna do the red again and make it darker around the edges. So that's why you don't really color too dark, so that way you can give it an outline of its own. And it'll make it pop out even more. But that's how you can do your flame, like this.
So I'm gonna use a tool called short hair, and it gives you like a wispy hair look, and I'm gonna use it in a light gray. And I finally fixed the mouth, and I'm shading this body with a darker color, like from the same skin tone. I'm just trying to make sure I get it everywhere, including where it's under his arm when he's resting it on his knee, and underneath where his hat is, and his hair and his forehead is, because usually when you wear a hat, shadowing usually goes there. I'm also adding a little bit of white to add lighting, and I'm trying to figure out the color I want to use for the shadowing, and add it into the front where like as if the sun's hitting it, and try and make it brighten up a little bit. And now I'm going to add some of the fire on a separate layer if you're using this digitally. Also, make sure you're doing these on separate layers if you are doing this digitally, because it will be very chaotic if you don't. I don't know what to do for the background exactly. He originally is on a roof, so I'm going to try and make sure there's the roof. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but I feel like it's kind of boring. So I'm going to start over and make it in the desert. And I'm gonna add this city that I think he popped up into, like with the episode or whatever. Nah, I'm gonna just try and do an oasis instead. And add little palm trees and make them look all cute, all that weird stuff. I wanna make sure they look unique and trying to make sure I get the top of the leaves right. And I'm gonna add shadowing with the brush tool, and it gives it like a sandy look. And I'm trying to add some shadowing to the rocks to try and make it look realistic for the most part, to make it look like he's actually there and not just standing on a weird thing. And I'm gonna draw the straw hats now, and they're super tiny. I'm adding the camel, trying to get them all together. Got Usopp there, and then Sanji and all them peoples. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then I do some extra touch-ups and get rid of some layers, and yeah. And I don't know what to do exactly for the fires, so I'm gonna probably redo that. Yeah, I'm gonna try and fix it, like my old one, the one I had on the sketch. Then again, I have a brush tool that's more so like fire, and I thought I did it okay the first time, but I'm not really sure, so it's kind of weird. I want it to look really nice. So I'm gonna go back to one of them and try and shade it to try and see if that looks better. I don't know, that looks like Banjo-Kazooie colors. It looks like the bird. And nah, I don't know. It's kind of looking a little bit off. I'll just leave it alone. And yeah, that pretty much is it. I'm gonna add a little bit more detail to the beads and try and highlight them a bit and shade them. And you may not see it, but I'm actually coloring the line art based off of like a darker color from like the colors of the skin or the clothes, just to make it stand out a little bit more. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Bonus, making an animated GIF. Since I'm working in Procreate, they allow me to create a GIF. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the picture with Ace, but I'm gonna hide my layer with the flames, and I'm gonna copy the canvas, and then I go to a new file, and I make a new drawing, and then I paste that, and then I have a new layer, and then I draw on top of it. But I'm gonna make those two combined into a group, and I'll have a new layer, copy the same thing as if it were your background, and then you do a new flame movement, and then you keep doing that for 3, 4, or 5 frames if you want to, and you get an animated GIF. Hi everyone, thank you for watching this video. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe down below. If you have any suggestions of what I should make next, please comment it down below. I'm more than happy to hear some feedback. If you want to see more of my artwork, please follow me at ArtemisArrow64 on Twitter, and on Instagram, Anime Skystreak. I'll leave the links in the description below. Anyways, until next time, bye!